When you feel your heart is breaking and you're crying out your pain, listen to the thunder voices calling out your name.
I think cultural healing is a collective process as well as an individual one, where people heal as a community, like of their shared identities, but also something that's very personal for the identity that someone holds.
I think cultural healing is similar to what you might expect if you went to the doctor and you found out you had some kind of disease or you had been damaged or traumatized in some way and you need to heal.
Cultural healing is giving a time and moment for families, a group of people and culture who has encountered injustice from the society and the state of being where they are, to give them time for them to find their inner peace.
I think that there's probably two aspects to cultural healing. One would be to address the genocide and colonial violence that people have experienced, but then going off of that, going further into embracing your culture, your own narrative, creating healing for you and your people. And whether that's through ceremony, through the language, through protecting water and earth rights, it can be any of those things.
I grew up watching those television shows and watching those movies and the portrayal of indigenous people and thinking that wasn't negative, that was reality.
If the other outfits don't fight their way through, you're liable to have a lot of Sioux on your hands.
Oh, yes. Yes, quite a lot of Sioux, sure. But the greater the odds, the greater the glory.
My dad used to tell me when he was a kid, he'd go from Santee into town, into Niobrara, to the movies. And he said all the native kids from Santee rooted for the cowboys because they had no connection to the Indians. They didn't realize it was supposed to be them.
Within the United States, because of all of the past, the taking of the land, taking of the children, the massacres that took place, the relocating whole tribes from one part of the country to another, children being placed in boarding schools, all of that is passed from one generation to another. Some people say through our DNA. And it's to acknowledge that what's happened, but not only by indigenous people, but by those whose ancestors were part of creating those injustices.
The idea was to kill the Indian, save the man. That was actually the motto. And the purpose was to take everything out and away from that indigenous child that made them indigenous and native and assimilate them.
Historical trauma is real in every Native family. We have people who are still mourning over the loss of our ancestors.
Of the 403 or more treaties that were made with Indian nations across the country, not one was ever kept.
And so there has to be some acknowledgement of what's happened and before any healing can take place.
So my mom, she only dates white men because I think that she just probably knows that having lighter skinned children, our experiences would be a little bit easier than hers were.
Live on Facebook.
Stay with me. We got pulled over for a busted tail light in the back.
I think first thing that I would want in like 50 years for Black people is to feel safe.
I have some bond with the Somali community through our refugee experience. No one can understand that better than, myself, who has been in a refugee camp, and my Somali brothers and sisters who live in refugee camps. even though we're a world apart, you know, we know what it means being in confinement and lost your sense of identity. And that sense of suffering, we need to come together and unify and have that moment of healing together.
I remember I was left alone because my mom and my sister had to get out to do forced labor in the rice paddy.
You work hard to survive day to day. Get something, even small thing, to get that and eat, just to feel, to have something in their stomach. Try to survive.
In the Dakota language, we have a word that describes the Euro-Americans, and it means they have no ears. And I think that today they know they need to listen. We have poisoned every lake and river in the state of Minnesota in the span of 160 years. Now that's with leadership that doesn't have a connection or knowledge of this place.
You know, if we can recreate this area where the land and the water can be healed, then and acknowledge that water is life. We are water, I'm water, you are water. If we can respect the water, recreate that relationship, be respectful and loving to ourselves because we are water, then I can be respectful and loving and kind to you because you are water as well.
I think recognizing the sacredness of a place from a Dakota perspective is really important. And we have such a place in Wakantipi. I think we're seeing more and more that what people really need is a safe place and a place where they feel respected and can come together and discuss on an ongoing basis some of the issues that we've been talking about around Genesis and genocide and colonization, and even talk about what does it mean to have social justice? What does it mean to have reparative justice?
Cultural healing is really not so hard. You know, we teach our children to do it all the time. We say, acknowledge the harm. He hit me and it hurt. It's just that easy. And then we tell our other child to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I hit you. And really acknowledging the harm is the very basis of healing. And acknowledging the inaccuracy of our education and how we teach it is a very simple step.